Welcome to the We Win an Injury Law Show, everybody. I'm Tyler, Todd, your host, sitting here with my co-host, Jaron, the Snow Canyon Man, Sandberg. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon. You wanted me to say it.
I had to say it. I had to say it. What is going on with Ryan Reynolds? They've fallen off the social media platform at the moment.
Yeah,
everyone's gone quiet.
Well, for a while there, I felt like I was getting blasted by Mint Mobile ads nonstop.
That too.
And I feel like even
the Liability.
I guess whoever their PR people are that are like, let's just make this go away by never talking about it. I can't think of his name
right now. That's how silent it's gone.
Baldoni.
That's right. Baldoni.
Well, and I think he's licking his wounds since his case got dismissed.
I know. I still wonder what happened there. To me, either they knew they had a horrible case, or lawyering,
or he's suing his lawyer right now for malpractice.
Or he's suing his lawyer for malpractice. Yeah, that's possible too, because it doesn't make any sense. I was Team Baldoni.
We just love to hate on Ryan Reynolds on this podcast, though.
Maybe so.
Ryan, if you ever want to come to the podcast.
Yeah, well.
Because I know he's listening.
You're not welcome.
You're not welcome.
We don't want you on.
Sorry.
It wouldn't really move the needle that much.
Yeah. We'd get 48 views.
Yeah. With Ryan Reynolds, maybe we get 60.
Yeah.
I don't know.
60 people would listen to that episode.
Yeah. But not
but then our core 48 would hate us. They would hate us.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'd lose our strong following.
I'm not willing to do that.
I'm not willing to either.
We're going to talk today about, you guys, something that we like to talk about, some interesting things which hopefully provide some real world, value in regards to how potentially you look at claims, whether you have a claim, how they may or may not make sense. Maybe at the very least you can talk about maybe around the Christmas table, because we have Christmas coming up. That's exciting.
And by the time this episode comes out, it might be pre or post Christmas.
That's true. So I don't know. But anyways, we're going to talk about Titanic liability. Not Titanic liability. Liability
of the Titanic?
For the survivors and or victims of the Titanic.
We should write that, though, just sidebar real quick, on our next demand. Your client has Titanic liability. That's a good word.
That's when I said it, I'm like, you know what? That's actually a good adjective.
That was good. We should, like I said, I'm going to write that down after the show.
This is not catastrophic. This is Titanic.
This is great. Yeah.
Cindy, what do you think?
Yeah.
Titanic liability.
The adjuster gets this oh, crap, we have Titanic liability.
Oh, crap. Yeah.
And then they're probably going to look at this great word choice.
I'm asking for more authority because we have Titanic exposure.
Yeah. How do they put that into their little algorithm? I guarantee it's Titanic, up the value.
Titanic injuries.
Titanic injuries. I like it.
There's something should have something there.
Yeah.
We better do something quickly because anybody listening to this might copy us.
Oh yeah, crap.
Okay. We are talking about one of the most infamous maritime disasters in history, and it's still relevant to this day because we're talking about it, obviously. Yeah. The sinking of the Titanic. And it is a fascinating subject and topic. Obviously, James Cameron was obsessed with it. We actually had the infamous exploding can, the submarine.
Yeah.
When was that? About a year and a half to 2 years now?
Yeah. The deep submersible,
submersible
little submarine thing.
Submarine, yeah, that imploded, and that what they were doing, going down to the Titanic.
The Titanic.
So it's for whatever reason
and now they have Titanic liability.
They do have Titanic liability, literally and figuratively, and pun intended. What was that? What was the name of that?
I can't remember the name of the little submersible that went down, but it was
Ocean Blue or something, or Ocean.
No, I think
Ocean One, Free Ocean. What was it called?
Cindy's gonna pull it up for us.
What was that called? The submersible. And when they had a lot of wealthy, very very wealthy individuals on that submersible. Yeah. Is that what they were calling it?
Like a deep water submersible.
Yeah. The Titanic wreck. That's what they're. Yeah. So interesting that they were going to the Titanic. So I guess we can parallel the two. We can talk about Titanic liability. I did it again.
You did it.
Liability of the Titanic. And we can talk about the submersible and that liability. Because I think a number of claims have been filed against that company since that catastrophe happened just recently.
So the original one, for those that live under a shell that have no idea, right? 1912.
You'd have to be under a shell.
The Titanic is going across.
We're talking about Leonardo DiCaprio, right?
Yeah, the blue ocean at night, going a little too fast.
Not a blue ocean, it was a dark ocean.
But going a little too fast.
That's true, right.
Old Captain Smith.
That was
who
named
went
Captain
down
Smith?
with this ship.
Yeah, he did.
That was a boss move,
That was
by
a
the
boss
way.
move, yeah.
If you're going to be responsible for killing like 1,000 people, you better go down with the ship.
Totally agree.
That was the one redeeming quality of the captain. The captain went, we can all appreciate a captain that goes down with their ship. So going too fast and hits an iceberg, rips through whatever it was, 7 or 9 panels on the side, which was ironic because they'd called it the unsinkable ship. And in a pretty short time, that thing sinks to the bottom of the ocean.
It happened, yeah. It only took a few hours, right?
Yeah, it was really quick. Splits in half, and then Jack dies, right?
Right.
We all know that.
Right.
We all know factually the
And
Titanic situation.
And then Jack was on the door. Well, he was in the water.
And there's been a lot of theories on whether he could have also floated on the door.
I think he totally could have fit on the door.
I'm team he fits on the door. Apparently James Cameron has even come out and tried to say that they tested it to make sure it couldn't happen.
And
I'm going to say I'm calling bullshit.
Wait, so he said they tested it and he wouldn't have fit on the door.
He wouldn't have fit on the door.
So AI is saying he would not have fit on the door?
Bullshit. He'd have fit.
If that door was pretty big.
And then when he's frozen, he sinks down. Come on. We all know that wouldn't have happened.
But to Jack's credit, Rose survived.
Yeah.
So it's possible had he tried to get on the door and then
if he lives and she dies.
No. If they're both on it, maybe being both on it, like he has his left arm or leg in the water, she has her right arm or right leg in the water.
And they both die.
And they both die.
Even though they both fit on the door.
Even though they both fit on the door. So maybe they don't both fit on the door. Maybe they do, but they don't both survive. And this way, at least Rose survives. I feel better about that.
Yeah. So, looking at...
we're talking about Titanic liability.
The situation. At least the story I'd always heard was going too fast. If they'd have just gone a little slower...
Right.
And then there was also something I recall that if they'd actually just hit the iceberg head on instead of ripping through the side.
Oh, because they tried to turn.
Because then they'd have just damaged the whole front of the boat, but at least it wouldn't have sunk.
Well, apparently the iceberg was massive.
But by ripping the side, all 7 panels, as soon as you filled more than 7 full of water,
that's what made them go.
Then it front end goes under and it goes in.
Right.
Is there liability on the captain?
So
which also is
fast,
White Star Line, clearly.
And they probably didn't have. Wasn't there? If I recall, weren't they not looking? Like they weren't.
Well, they were going too fast to be able to really see it. So they had lookouts, but by the time they saw it, they put the engines into reverse and turn it because it gets you a tighter turn. But by turning,
that's what obviously
it rips the side panels, right?
Right.
But I think I've read there's at least been some engineering post this that has said you just hit it, even though you might flood the front little compartment. It only floods 1 compartment, not 7, and the ship stays afloat.
I thought the couple of the guys in the movie that were like watching were like not really watching.
Yeah.
They were like, it's cold, and they were drinking, and I think they got distracted by something. Remember, I thought they got distracted.
Well, in the movie, they're like watching Rose and Jack.
Oh, that's right. They were watching Rose and Jack, so they totally got distracted, And then
So really, it's Jack's fault the Titanic sunk.
that's why he didn't get on the door.
But
But-
regardless, so then the boat does not have enough lifeboats,
Right.
and the
that
staff
too.
and
Right.
the staff are not trained properly to even load the limited lifeboats they do have to full capacity.
Right.
One of the boats famously has 12 people on it.
Right. Correct.
For boats that are meant to seat 40 men.
And they were obviously tending to the wealthy. And so this is something that's super, it's fun to talk about this stuff, but I also want to make sure that we're actually talking about real stuff. This is obviously real, but how it impacts you, and how it impacts you or us is many of us travel, right? And we go on these different excursions, whether it be to Mexico or Europe. We're on boats, we're on kayaks, we're on catamarans,
Zip lines.
We do all these different things that are fun and they're exciting, but they're also potentially dangerous.
Yeah.
And even I recently, within the last few months, was on something where I'm like, why am I doing this with my family right now?
Yeah.
Like this, we were on a truck. And I felt it was just shy of being like riding the bed of a truck.
Yeah.
Because, they were benches. We were on seats, but there were no seatbelts. And we were cruising down a freeway like at 70 miles an hour.
And you're like, this wasn't engineered for this.
No, this was like, how did we, well, and I didn't know that's what was going to happen.
Yeah.
I thought we were just going to be on a little truck to take you on some back roads and get you up to the zip line thing, right? Not flying down the freeway at 70 miles an hour and essentially in the back of a truck.
In a country that is not like the healthcare we have here, at least with doctors and.
No, here in this country, would have been never one. I would hope never been allowed, and then would have been pulled over.
Yeah.
Hey, does everybody have seatbelts back here? What's going on, right?
Yeah.
It's just very, I don't know. And even me, and knowing better, we put ourselves in these situations thinking it's not going to happen to us.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what happened to the Titanic. Right, it's the unsinkable ship. It's not going to happen to them.
Yeah.
Full steam ahead, no big deal. The watchers are distracted.
We want to get there a day early. Let's go fast.
Right.
They knew there's icebergs out there. They're hard to see at night.
Is that what they were trying? They were trying to get there
Trying
early.
to get there a day early.
Just so
we arrived. This great big ship got there a day early.
Yeah.
So they were pushing it.
And we do, right? I think as human beings, we think it's not going to happen to us. You push things, you get a little excited, and you don't think of like the consequences that could happen in the event something happens like that.
And the poor passengers are, and you in this situation, the assumption we all make is that someone has thought through the liability of this and they're doing this in a safe way.
Right.
Or as safe as possible.
Right.
And oftentimes it's the opposite.
Yeah, they haven't at all. Or I think just a lot of times I think we just think that we're impervious to like death.
Yeah. Invincible.
We're invincible. It's not going to happen to us. I've seen crazy stuff happen, but it's not going to happen to me.
Yeah.
And so then you ride the lightning, right?
Yeah.
And you take the risk, and all of a sudden you find yourself. And again, same thing, right? Nothing happened to us.
Yeah.
It worked. We weren't injured. We got there. We arrived safely. We had a great time. Even the zip line, I'm like, is this OSHA approved? Has this been federal? Has this gone through all the safety checks and codes and all the different? Probably not.
Nope.
But we all made it safely and no issues, no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
And so then we get teed up to do it again. And so that's where it's really like an interesting like analogy with the Titanic, because all those passengers have claims against the Titanic for being negligent and pushing it too fast, going too fast, not having the proper, in my opinion, not having the proper number of people actually looking and being like, iceberg, right? To give the Titanic enough time. Now, or the captain. Now, it's also possible the captain knew he was going too fast and there was nothing that a watcher could have done.
Yeah, and that was, if I recall, I've actually read something on that some of White Star Line's defenses, because they got pulled into Congress in the U.S., the England, and they all did inquiries. Some of their defense was like, well, it's an iceberg. It's an act of God. Well, no, it's not when you know that there's icebergs in that part of the ocean.
Right.
There was iceberg spottings. It had been announced. So they
You
knew
icebergs were like,
this was
that
present.
was an issue.
Yeah.
And then
We deal with this in cases in Utah. We deal with ice cases and slippery roads, and it's not a defense that, oh, there was ice and I hit it going 60 miles an hour and then smashed into your car. That's not a defense. That's called driving too fast for the conditions.
right.
The same thing in the Titanic is going way too fast for the conditions.
Or business owners that are also doing the same thing. Oh, well, as an act of God, it snowed. Well, it sat there for a day before you actually took any sort of action to either get rid of the ice, put ice or salt down,
Yeah.
or do any sort of removal like measures, which is what our client slipped on, and now there's been some catastrophic injury.
Yeah.
That is a common defense that people like to use, is act of God defense. And it's not a defense when they knew or should have known and didn't take the proper steps to avoid it.
Yeah. And the one time where maybe you'll see the act of God defense work is something that's never happened ever. But in most situations, it's not that it's never happened. If you live anywhere that it snows, there's no defense that, well, it was a freak snowstorm. There's been snowstorms before, right? There's ice. Oh, does the temperature ever in any year get to 32 degrees and freeze?
Right.
Oh, yeah. Well, it does every year from like November until February. Right. And even in St. George, we don't get a lot of snow-related cases. We get plenty of ice cases.
Right.
We've had bridge cases where vehicles have lost control over a bridge because it's 5 a.m., 6 a.m., there's ice on the road. And so it's not a defense in most situations with weather-related things that, well, it was an act of God. Even though you might believe that God caused the weather or caused it to rain or snow.
Yeah, we have ice issues all the time in southern Utah, and that kind of it makes me think about, I had ice in my backyard for weeks. And I think what happens is landowners just don't think about it.
No.
Like I didn't go back in my backyard and put down hot water to get rid of the ice.
You didn't salt the
I didn't.
sidewalks?
Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I didn't do that either.
Negligent Tyler.
And if my kids had gone back there and fallen, and that would have been on me.
Not your kid. Well, you wouldn't
Or-
have
or-
liability for your kids, but if friends.
Well, I would have felt bad if my kids did,
Yeah.
but friends or anybody we had over or anything, sure. Then yeah, that would have been on me because I knew about the ice for. In fact, I remember thinking about ice is still there. That's crazy.
Day 25 with ice
it's
still
still
in the backyard.
there.
Yeah.
Like wild.
Yeah.
And wait, but it never dawned on me to go out there and do something about it.
Yeah. And that's the same thing with the Titanic, right? They're like, oh, wait, there's these icebergs that only, 3% or 5% of the iceberg is visible from above.
Right.
And then 90% is below the water. And we've had iceberg sightings. Let's just full steam ahead at dark at night.
All
Why
on this,
not?
all on the sake of getting there early.
We'll get there early. Everyone will be happy.
And that's what I think oftentimes we do, even in our cars.
Yeah.
Hey, it's not going to happen to me. I've never been in a car accident, so let's just push it.
Yeah, I'm okay to text.
Yeah, and I can get there early.
Yeah.
And if I get there 20 minutes early, all the better.
Yeah.
When it's like, you got there 20 minutes early.
Yeah.
Big deal. So it's a good reminder. The Titanic's a good reminder for a number of things. Not only is it a good story with Jack and Rose, but it's a good reminder to leave early, slow down. You don't have to get there early. You don't have to push it. And then when there's times where you find yourself maybe in a foreign country in the back of a truck, maybe you put your foot down and say, look, I want to be in a safer vehicle.
Yeah.
I'm sure nothing will happen, but I don't want to take that chance because the lives of my loved ones are significantly more important than taking that risk. I literally was like sick the entire time I was in the back of that truck. Not just for myself, but for everyone that was with us.
This was an unnecessary risk.
This is so stupid that we are doing this right now. I couldn't believe it. So if you find yourself in that situation, don't just look, slow down and maybe take a step back and say it's not worth the risk.
Yeah. Or maybe go through the like Carnival Cruise Lines version of the expedition that's done by maybe the more reputable company.
Well,
right?
even this was one of those companies.
Oh, it was?
Not Carnival Cruise Line, but it was a reputable company. That's where you're like, wait, I'm
Or maybe ask the questions beforehand. Wait, where are we going?
Yeah,
Tell me a little bit more
do we
about
get
this.
there? Make sure, like, I don't know. I mean, there are some risks involved, and I don't know. It's just,
It
it's
felt
such a
unnecessary
balance.
in that moment.
It felt definitely unnecessary in that moment. But anyways, be safe out there. That's the key. And we talk about that Titanic and that tragedy. We talk about, in the previous podcast, we talked about Jurassic Park, and that's fun because it's an interesting analogy, that as well, right?
Yeah.
And how is park exposure liability if you get eaten by a dinosaur? It's silly to talk about, but it's also real because there are dangers when you go into a park, lagoon, or the zoo, or anything that potentially poses risks.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about the Titanic, yeah, it's actually a real life thing that happened, so it's super sad. But it's more now. It's like more like drama because of the movie and how great that was with the door and Jack and Rose. But there's real life application. If you guys find yourself wondering whether you have a case or there's real life situations you're going through, reach out to us because the consults are always free, and you don't pay until we win for you. And that's what we always try to do for our clients, is to win for you, period. That's why we said we win for you, period, because that's everything we try to do. And we're passionate about that. So find us online, please, and subscribe to this podcast. It'd be super helpful. Tell your friends. We hope it's mildly entertaining, At least we entertain
Hopefully
ourselves.
it feels like a good hang.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So until next time, you guys, hopefully this has been helpful and entertaining. And leave early, slow down, be safe. That's the key, especially for this holiday season. Be safe. Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy New Year. And until maybe next year, who knows?
Yeah.
Be safe, everybody.